Hello, friends. Welcome to the session 6 of the virtual Geoheritage conference. We have really nice talks yesterday, also today. Now we will continue with the session of flash talks that I'm sure will be really interesting. Don't forget to feel free to ask any questions using Facebook chat or YouTube chat or the Discord. At the end of the fifth presentation, we will have the question table for 5 minutes, and then we will continue with another 5 talks. Now, according to the schedule and the program of the conference, we will start with Rosangela and her presentation. So, Rosangela, your 5 minutes start right now.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Rosângela Botelho, and I work at the Brazilian Institute of Geography and Statistics, and it's a pleasure to be here for the second time in this important event. The present work came from an opportunity during the postdoctoral to carry out a geological route with the didactic character related to the master degree on geosciences, specialization on geological heritage and geoconservation of the University of Minho, Portugal. The objective of this route was to visit distinct geosites and geodiversity sites throughout the Portuguese territory. As we know, Portugal is one of the leaders in the studies and defense of geological heritage and geoconservation in the world. It has more than 300 geosites and 5 UNESCO geoparks in a relatively small territory. However, as most countries, its inventory does not include geosites in the soil category or pedosites. The objective of this study was to observe the soil at the visitation points in order to verify the possibility of it adding value to the already existing geosite or even constitute a potential pedosite. The route left the city of Braga in the north of the country, crossing more than 2,000 kilometers in 6 days to the Algarve region in the far south, passing through the districts of Guarda, Castelo Branco, Beja, Faro, Lisbon, Leiria, and Santarém. 5 natural parks and the Estrela and Naturtejo UNESCO Global Geoparks and the aspiring West Geopark lands of Jurassic. About 50% of the country is covered by leptosols, poorly evolved soils, usually acid, that are formed from no-calcareous parent rock, with severe limitations on use. However, there are important differentiations in soils in the Portuguese territory, mainly related to lithology and the prevailing climate. Considering the 53 visitation points, 3 were selected as having soils with relevant scientific interest, either because they present soils typically found in the country or because they present characteristics that show natural formation process strongly related to the current environment conditions. They are Umbrisol, an organic soil in mountainous climate in Serra da Estrela Geopark; Alluviosol, a deep yellow reddish soil in Beja; Alluviosol, a ferralitic red soil in Mina de São Domingos in Vale do Guadiana Natural Park; Podisol, a leptosol, a thin soil in Ponta de Sagres, and we have already have a geosite in Sudoeste Alentejo and Costa Vicentina Natural Park. A podzol, a sand soil formed on dunes in Palmela, and a calcisol in Algar de Pena Mine, Santarém, in Serras de Laire and Candeeiros Natural Park. In this context, this study emphasizes the importance of soils as a geoheritage that needs to be recognized, valued, and popularized in inventories and in the circuits of geoparks and geological routes. Thank you.
Lubomir, you're on mute.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was muted. Okay, once again, Rosangela, thank you very much. Nice presentation and timing. Now we are moved to the second presentation of this session, which will be given by Enrico. But anyone who will ask Rosangela anything, feel free to write a question to our social media or Discord. Hello, Enrico. Can you hear us?
Hello, everybody. Can you hear me? Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, we can hear you clear and nice. Okay, so your presentation will start.
Thank you, everybody. I will speak about an Interreg project. It's called Mineralp. It's a European Union founded project between Italy and Switzerland. It's about mining heritage with a lot of actions for cooperation to conserve, to preserve, and evaluate the mineral, the big mining heritage of the Alps. The project area is very wide in the Alps across the Swiss border in Valais Canton and Tessin Canton, and on the Italian side in Aosta Valley and northern Piedmont region. We have 8 partners in the project, 3 natural parks, 2 local governments, Aosta regional governments, and Valsesia local governments, 2 associations, Brosso and Gold Mine in Switzerland, and 1 private company who carries on a quarry, a granite quarry. The project started in 2019, 3 years ago. We still have 1 year for complete all our activities, and we have many goals in this project. And the main goals are to enhance at 360 degrees all the historical and cultural heritage inherent in the mining activities existing in the area. In some of these areas, the mining activities have about 5 to 8 centuries history. And this mining heritage includes historical memories, documentation, and objects and places, obviously. So our main actions will be taken and linked to a tourist and cultural and educational enhancement of this big historical mining heritage. Some of this mining heritage will be recovered, both in its material and intangible manifestations. Most of the mining activities ended at the end of the Second World War. So the mining activities stopped about 70 years ago, and lots of miners and people died. So it's not easy to find direct testimonies of their work. We shared a methodology to collect and conserve all of these witnesses of mining history and documents. We are working on the recovery of mines and mineral extraction facilities, and we have a very lot of shared actions about territorial marketing and educational activities. I'll show you some of these. In the project, there is the recovery and restoration of a medieval castle to become an information and communication center for geomining heritage. We are creating a geomining documentary database online on the entire project area. There is the restoration and musealization of 3 old mines, gold, copper, and iron mines, and other mining activities related places. Implementation and creation of visitor centers and info points all over the area, one for each partner. The signage intervention on 20 geomining thematic hiking routes in the project area, and the publishing of a booklet in 4 different languages about these hiking routes. And we worked also on the training of mining guides, so guides that will work in the mining sites and on the geomining trails. We made the first course last autumn. We are programming a new course for the next autumn, and so we wanted to prepare to train about 40-50 specific mining guides. What else? I invite you to keep an eye on the project website that is mineralp.net. Is under construction, but in a few weeks it will be ready. So let's see in the mine. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Enrico, for your presentation. And we will really fastly move to another presenter, Raphael. Hello, Raphael. Are you ready?
Hello, Lubuni. Yes, I'm ready. Hello, everyone.
You can start.
Okay. So, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Raphael, and this is the work I'm doing with my supervisor, Marco Giardino, from the University of Turin, in my PhD. And it's called Reconciling Sustainability and Geoheritage in Mining Landscapes in the State of Minas Gerais, Brazil. Just for an introduction part, Brazil is among the 5 largest mineral producers in the world. The state of Minas Gerais in southeast Brazil is the top one in ore producing, and it represents more than 50% of the country's production. Mining has been seen as essential for economic development and well-being, but the Institute of Geography and Statistics in Brazil has shown that the poverty rate in the municipalities in mining landscapes are bigger than the rest of the country. And mining development has put a lot of natural and cultural heritage and natural resources at risk, the way that is being modeled in Brazil right now. For examples, we have in the state of Minas Gerais the case of Mariana and Brumadinho of tailing dam collapses. So for start, we created this framework for geoconservation in mining landscapes, where we have the original landscape and the components of geodiversity creating the original landscape. There is a mine development thus creating the mining landscape. There are 3 types of resignification happening at the mining landscape: the social-cultural one, the economic, the environmental one, creating the geoheritage elements. For dynamic conservation and management of the geoheritage elements, we have the geoheritage inventory, the geosystem services, the legal frameworks, and the public policies. So we'll be working within the 3 categories in this work, and all are components of the geoconservation. And inside geoconservation, we're mainly focusing on the UNESCO Global Geoparks framework and the GeoFood brand. So for the inventory in the state of Minas Gerais, we have already 4 projects of geoparks happening. Is the Canaço Geopark, which is the one that I'm involved in the creation, the Quadrilátero Ferrífero Geopark, Morada Novas de Minas Geopark, and the Uberaba Terra de Gigantes Geopark. There are two sites we assessed for potential geopark projects development: the Axpain Scarce region and Coromandel and Vazante. So, as preliminary finding and discussions, in general, this landscape represents the mining history of Brazil and the state of Minas Gerais. As in Portuguese, Minas Gerais means general mines. So the state was entirely molded by the mining history. And in terms of international relevance, the geodiversity features and the tectonic evolution, there's a huge potential for contribution in assessment, evaluation, dissemination of geosystem services, which is the further part of this research that we'll be working in this final year. For Brazil and the state of Minas Gerais, the UNESCO Global Geopark implementation in mining landscapes can work as an alternative for regional development and protection, and work separately for the current public policies available as a foster for sustainable development practices. I didn't say that, but all the geopark projects already in the state are in mining landscapes in the state, and even the other two ones that we did the assessment for potential geoparks. And the Brazilian legislation, there is already a protected area for mining landscapes after the operational phase, but is separate from the UNESCO, as you know, from the UNESCO Global Geopark framework. The recommendations that the recovery plan can include geotourism activities already in the Brazilian legislation during and after the operational phase, contributing to environmental and geoscience education and economic development. And further adheres to the GeoFood program, can even more economically leverage these municipalities inside mining landscapes involved by using and elevating their geoproducts. Thank you.
Rafael, thank you very much for your presentation and really nice timing. And we will move to another presenter. According to our program, we go to William Hernandez and his presentation on georoutes. So, William, hello.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Please present your flash talk.
Okay, can you hear me and see the presentation?
Yes.
Okay, can I start?
Yeah, you can start.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. As you can read, this presentation has titled Georoute in El Golfo Valley to promote the geotourism and local development in a small volcanic UNESCO Global Geopark. This presentation is possible thanks to the Volturmac project 2020. In this slide, I will present some information about the island of El Hierro. El Hierro is the smallest Canary island, which is located in the extreme southwest of the Canary archipelago, and also the youngest of all. Because of all the above, it has a great diversity because it's the last one that was formed. One of the facts that shows that is an island still information is the fact that the last erosion occurred between 2011 and 2012. The Intara Island is a biosphere reserve. It's also a geopark, and another important fact is that 54% of the surface is a protected natural.
William,
Yeah,
please stop. I'm afraid we don't see your slides moving.
no.
No.
Ooh.
Please share another screen. Now it's moved. Okay. Now we
Now,
see seconds. Now we can see
yes.
the second slide. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Continue or start?
Continue.
Okay. Sorry. About the materials and method, here to the left of the slide, we can see the area of study that is the Golfo Valley. From a geomorphological and geological point of view, El Golfo is one of the most important landmarks on the island since its formation was due to a large landslide that occurred about 100,000 years ago. in one of the last stages of the island's formation, which, however, had other landslides such El Hulang to the southwest, the San Andre landslide to the east of the island, and the Las Playas landslide to the southeast. After all these landslides, the volcanic eruption continued that ended up configuring the current relief of the island. In this work, the main objective is to identify, inventory, and select sites of geotourism interest that are well preserved, accessible, and representative. This methodology is extracted from Reynard et al. 2007 and 2017. Can you see the slide, the new slide? Yes or not? Okay, I continue.
We don't see the third slide. Sorry,
no?
No. Now.
Right now?
Yes.
Okay. These sites select in the study area make up the heritage of the Golfo Valley. The 15 sites that can be seen on the map have a great geodiversity, both from the natural geological heritage, with geomorphologies such as paleocliff, ravines, slopes, sedimentary deposits, cliffs, beaches, cinder cones, hornitos, lava fields, or coastal delta of wash, as well as rural heritage such as stone walls, gorona, salt flats, crops, or livestocks. Sorry so much. This is the last. Can you see this slide? Okay, the characteristic of the georoute that we can highlight are: has 15 unemployed, a length of 17.5 kilometers, and is done by car and walking. Along the itinerary, you can see the diversity links to the natural and cultural heritage of the recent volcanic landscape of El Hierro. The selection of these important geotourism sites could contribute to local development and geotourism through the georoutes along the coast of El Golfo Valley. And this is all. Thank you very much for your attention, and I'm sorry for the problem in my presentation.
William, thank you very much for your presentation. We went through some technical issues, no problem. We are happy that the flash talk was given. And now we will move to the last presentation of the first half of this session. Sadly, Catalina cannot join us, but she prepared a video that we will play.
Hello, everyone. I am very happy to be here with you in this second version of the Oxford Geoheritage Virtual Conference and to share with you some of the results of my PhD that was defended at the end of 2019 under the supervision of Professor Yves Giraud. So the heritagization process, we analyzed it with a multidisciplinary approach between museology and cultural and social geography, based mainly in this triangulation model proposed by Mayron, that was a museologist, and complemented with other geographical review and authors. Here we have three big elements: interpretation, territory, ecomuseum, as we apply it to geoparks with the slash geoparks, and they have there is different stages between them with some elements. So the patrimonial stage is the one that when the geopark is starting. So why geological heritage, what is geological heritage, all that awareness, and then the selection of it, the inventories. Then it goes to the creation stage where we the geopark or the territory start to organize, then to define what the project will be and construct that narrative that will be presented to the visitors and for the locals also. There is also a visionary stage. That is the one of the feedback or to improve the project and continue to make it alive. On the frame of the PhD, we focus on the first two, the patrimonial stage and the creation stage, applied to the UNESCO Global Geoparks in Spain between 2015 and 2017. There were aspiring and UNESCO Global Geoparks. And the methodology was the interviews with mainly with the coordinators of these geoparks, the administrative and scientific coordinator. The results were mainly related to each of these stages, is that there are many ambivalence related to the construction of that narrative for the geoparks. Regarding the patrimonial awareness, so we find an antinomy of two logics that we call territorial, what means that the geopark idea, it's focused on the opportunity of using the geological heritage for the development through geotourism, mainly through tourism. And the disciplinary one, that is the one that geoparks are creating with the idea of conservation and education of the regarding geological heritage. Then in patrimonial selection, we see that there is a hyperpatrimonialization, what means like an overlap of different designations of protected areas in the same territory. So when the inventory will start, sometimes it's not clear, or it could be contradictory regarding the objectives of each of these designations of area that overlap in the territory. Then regarding the creation stage, also there is a strong institutional influence in Spain that could be seen as a contradictory to the bottom-up approach that is defended by the geoparks concept, but at the same time is needed to guarantee that the geopark will continue. Then the territorial project, we can see there is a polysemic perception of the geotourism concept, a lack of agreement at that moment between the coordinators and their objectives, and sometimes between what they say and what they apply. Then at the end, the territorial narrative, the interpretation of the heritage is an education, is mainly focused on the deficit model. It means like a transfer of information that goes from an expert to a non-expert to meet a multiplicity of purpose and publics where sometimes is not appropriated, and it has been studied for many others in communication and in education, how this model is not the best one to get to that. Then as the results, it shows that there is no one model of geopark. There are many kinds of geopark that we categorize in kind of patrimonial. One geopark can be a patrimonial project, another one could be a touristic project, or the territorial project, that is the one that junction between enhancement and economic valorization, but it needs a work for very long term. The others sometimes is more in urgency or in the context that favorize that. So thank you very much for your attention. I am free to hear your questions.
Thank you, Catalina, for your online video. You can't hear us, but hopefully you will see the video, or we will tell you that your presentation or video presentation was really interesting. If you have any question on Catalina, please use her email to email her any question you want to ask. Now, we are in the half of the sixth session, and now we have time for some questions that are given, or maybe will be also given. Before asking the questions, I would like ask Marianela to join us to the system, so we will be ready to start her presentation in time. And now I will put on the screen all the presenters from the first half of the sixth presentation, where we have William. Okay, welcome back. And we have two questions for Raphael. First is from Marie Noel, asking if there is any initiative to do geotourism in active quarries.
Hi, Maria Noel. So, from what I know, the Quadrilátero Ferrífero Geopark project has geotourism in activity quarries, and the last time I went to the Uberaba Terra de Gigantes, they also had, but I don't know if it's happening right now. For the Canastro Geopark, the one I'm working, there's no activity happening at this moment, and yeah, that's it.
And the second question, Raphael, is quite similar to the first one, from Benjamin van der Weeks, who really likes your presentation. And the question is there any geotourism or even any guided visits?
Yes, the Geopark projects, they're already the four that I cited in the work. They are already having a lot of geotourism activities. The question about Marinoel was either they were having activities in active quarries, but there are other activities of geotourism activities that you can do at these geopark projects, such as right now at the Canastro Geopark, there's a hot air balloon festival happening. With so it's a festival at the top of a mountain. Uh, what else? They're working already with the creation of their GeoFood brand and for the branding of the geo products. The Terra de Gigantes Geopark, you can go check the paleontological sites. The biggest dinosaurs of Brazil were found in the Terra de Gigantes Geopark. So yeah, there are many geotourism activities happening at these projects right now. The ones we're doing the assessment for potential geosites, they're already activity. They have already some activities as well. So right now it's a matter of doing assessment of proper geosites for scientific evaluation and assessment.
Thank you, Raphael, for your answer. I don't see any other questions in the comments, nor on YouTube channel or Facebook. So, now we have one more question from Marie Noel. If there is no conflict, let's say, about the mining companies and the geoparks, I think it's a question to Raphael.
Yeah, right now I don't know about any of these conflicts, but what I know is the Quadrilátero Ferrífero has been passing through a lot of discussions. Either one of the geosites would be included in a new proposal for a mining development, but this is currently ongoing in the council's representatives in the city of Belo Horizonte, the capital of the state. So we'll see what they will decide about this.
Okay, thank you very much. Actually, we do not have more time for any other questions, but once again, please let me remind you that any one of you who is watching us or social media, feel free to ask any of our presenters. I'm sure that they will be happy to answer any of your questions regarding the research. Now we will move to the second part of the sixth session, and we will start with Marianela. And Rico. So, Marianela, hello, how are you?
Hi there, thank you, Lovimir, and you?
Okay, so please present your flash talk.
Thank you so much. Well, I'd like to start by thanking Oxford University for organizing an event that has brought together so many people from around the world to highlight the importance of geoheritage. My name is Marianela Vargas, and I am pleased to present a product that is the result of the collective effort of multidisciplinary research group of the Geological Museum related to the construction of an inventory of paleontological heritage in Colombia by the Colombian Geological Survey. Okay. So I will touch on 4 points that comment on some particularities of the paleontological heritage in Colombia. First, fossils are part of the nation's heritage, and according to our constitution, they cannot be bought, sold, nor transferred. They do not lose validity over time, and their value transcends monetary value. Second, we know that fossils are one of the geological records exceptionalities and are highly important to science and education as they are remains of past life. Third, it is also common to find direct links between people and fossils in some places. And finally, these are commonly vulnerable to bad practices such as irresponsible fossil collecting, plundering, and activities associated with illicit trafficking. For all these reasons, the Colombian Geological Survey has prioritized the assessment of paleontological heritage, understanding that it is necessary to protect it through good conservation practices that ensure sustainable management, both of the primary sources of this material, that is in situ heritage, and of the fossil pieces that have already been extracted, that is ex situ heritage. Thanks to the contribution of several paleontologists and bibliographic resources, it was possible to identify 13 paleontological sites that cover Paleozoic, Mesozoic, and Cenozoic eras. All these sites that you see in the map are of national relevance, but some of them are also of international relevance, such as the Lagerstätte of marine reptiles of Alto Ricaurte and the paleontological site of La Venta. In fact, these are the pillars on which the paleontological research of the national territory has been based on. Therefore, all of them have a wide scientific tradition. This has allowed us to adapt an assessment methodology to the reality of Colombia under a qualitative approach based on international references, such as the IGME assessment methodology and others. Taking into account that the purpose of this inventory is not only to give a nominal recognition to these sites, but also to guarantee an internal management of them in order to ensure their sustainable use, we developed a dossier for each site that addresses the following aspects. First, basic information on the site, including location, geological description, thematic category to which it belongs, and associated geological interests. Second, the heritage assessment, where we address the scientific, educational, and cultural value, which as rule are those that the entity must evaluate. This assessment is developed as an argumentative text in response to a series of guiding questions and is supported on publications, expert interviews, and information gathered directly in the site and its neighboring sectors. Third, a delimitation of the site and the geological mapping at appropriate scale, as this is a fundamental aspect for heritage management. Fourth, a diagnosis of the state of conservation, where we address the integrity, risks, and uses of the sites. And finally, a set of geoconservation strategies, either direct or indirect, to be implemented by local authorities and site managers, which will be monitored by the Colombian Geological Survey. So, the assessment of these 13 sites have allowed us to, first, know the state of paleontological knowledge of the national territory, to highlight the advances in research in this area, and to promote the investigation of paleontological sites and collections in and outside the country. Also to promote geoconservation strategies in alliance with local communities, such as geological heritage protection zones in 2 of these sites, in order to provide alternatives for social, scientific, educational, and economic development. To build dossiers based on international standards so that some of these sites can eventually be submitted to international bodies such as the UNESCO or IUGS, for example. And finally, to have technical information necessary to produce educational and communicative products around these sites. That's it. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much for your presentation and timing. Now we are going to move to another presentation. So we will move to Filippo right now because Liza is not with us yet. So Filippo, welcome.
Welcome.
Please share your presentation.
Yes, one moment. Okay. Sure.
We don't see it now.
Well, just one moment because it's asked me something. Okay. Do you see something?
No, we don't see something. Filippo, you know what? We will skip to Martin and then we will go back to you.
Okay.
Meanwhile, you can upload your presentation. We will see it. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So, hello, Martin. Martin, do you hear us?
Now, is it good?
Yeah, hello, Martin.
Okay, hello.
Okay. We made
now
some skipping.
Looking good and skipping.
Yeah, okay. So, here is your presentation. Please give your flash talk. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Martin Virag. I would like to introduce our research about the Bükk Region Geopark and evaluation of its geosites. So let's see. The Bükk Region Geopark is located in North Hungary. The Bükk mountain has 400 million years of geohistory. Due to long phylogeny, the mountain has the most geodiverse structure in the North Carpathian. Our research focuses on geosites evaluation with the help of the geosite assessment modeling of Vujicic. We evaluate all of the geosites in the park. The park has 365 geosites. We have to make 5 core areas in the geopark, and after we have to choose 40 sites presenting the core areas the most. Each individual site belongs to one of the core areas, expect a few of them. On the right side of the slide, you see the map of summarized values for the 40 geosites. On the left, see the total GAM value of these sites based on core areas. The higher GAM value of these sites is clearly visible.
Martin, sorry, we don't see your slides full screen.
Not in full screen?
No.
I don't know what's happening. Now?
No, we see the second slide right now, but we don't see the full screen.
I'm trying. Try this method.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, the second slide. Let's see the 5 core areas. The first is the Bükk Plateau. You can see with orange circle on the map. This area is the heart of the Bükk. It is known as the Giant's Table. On the edge of the plateau, the bastion-like limestone cliff can be found, known as the Rocks. The second, the edge of the Northeast Bükk, on the map marked with blue, carries prehistoric caves with spectacular karst morphological and hydrological presence. The Northwest Bükk, you find with purple circle on the map. This area is very interesting from a geological point of view, because you can find the Jurassic mid-ocean ridge with its castle and ore mining shaft and Triassic limestone cliff. The next is Apoñ Mountain. You see with red on the map, the Apoñ Mountains lay north of the Bükk, the odd one out, geotourists called the Elden Bükk, because ancient rocks and spectacular gorges build it up. And the last core area is the Bükk with rhyodacite rocks, wine cellars, beehive stones with anthropogenic forms and prehistoric caves. Sorry. And let's see the results of the GAM evaluation. You see the 5 subgroup of the GAM, 3 in main values and 2 in additional values. The first diagram shows the sum of scientific values on the left top. The average is 3.4 in here, outstanding the Northwest Bükk. Here a rifting process of complete series of opholite rocks can be observed. This is complemented by a number of less important but more significant values from an educational point of view. On the second box plot, you can see the sum of scannic and aesthetic values. Average is 3.2. In terms of scannic value, the Bükk and the edge of the Bükk Plateau have the most significant geosites. The third diagram shows the last subgroup of the main values, the protection values on the right up side of the slide. 3.6 the average. This is the highest of the subgroup values. In the case of core areas, the inner zone in the national park, the protection is higher than the edges. The proximity of the cities, Eger and Miskolc, has a large variance due to the vulnerability and protection of the geosites. And the last 2 subgroups of the functional and the touristic values, see on the bottom on the slide. The role of the tourism is worsened by the lower function value of inner core areas because they are more difficult to assess. This is supported by the fact that both the basic tourism infrastructure and the services are only available in connection with the mountain edge visitor centers. However, the average value of these core areas is also not too bright. And what is the conclusion of our research? The subgroup of the main values have a higher average than the added. This means that the diversity and the quality of a geoheritage can be considered significant in international comparison. The lower average of added value shows the need for development for geotourism purposes. And the aforementioned assessment of core areas assists the geopark management that they can easily identify areas and functions to have to be developed into the future. And thank you for your attention.
Martin, thank you very much for your presentation. Köszönöm. We will move to the next presentation. Hopefully Filippo is now ready.
Yeah, I'm ready now. Okay.
Okay, we see some screen, but we don't see any presentation.
So maybe you can make like this. Oh. No way.
Now we can see it, but we don't see the full screen.
If I put in a slideshow, it disappeared. Why? Is it working?
No. Hopefully, remove the slideshow.
Yeah.
Okay, and switch through the slides on the left panel. So it will be like not full screen slideshow, but the window you have right now.
Okay, so I start now with this.
Okay, thank you.
Visualization. Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Filippo from the Geoscience of University of Padova. Today, I'm going to show you our work, which is titled Photogrammetric 3D Models of the Cliffs of Lumignano Geosite for Geoheritage Documentation and Geoconservation. Okay. Lumignano Geosite is a little village located in the north of Italy, and because of its interesting geologic characteristic, Lumignano was chosen for the development of an example of good practice in the management of a geoheritage site. The local geology clearly show an Oligocene coral reef systems that was set up at a global sea level drop due to the Antarctic ice cap emplacement. And then it was cut by volcanic conduits and involved in karstic processes. Nowadays, it's still possible to see the ancient coral reef system represented by the rock walls that surrounds all the village. We produce we produce 3D models of in theory that should be reproducing something, but okay, of 3 coral reef systems and 2 quarries. One of the main objectives of the 3D models was to help the geological interpretation of the area by uploading these models on the software virtual reality geoscience, which led us to highlight and study some structural and stratigraphic features, which were not so easy to see directly on the field. We also used this software to refine the geologic map by drawing contacts of the geologic units directly on the model, and then exporting them into the GIS software. Another main objective we use for what we use those models was to emphasize the geologic history of Lumignano for educational purposes. Indeed, those 3D models also let to see the outcrops and study their geology from distance. So basically, the students would be able to study them directly on their PC without the problem of how to reach those outcrops. Finally, the most important utilization of those models was for us for tourism. Indeed, during the exhibition of our research we made in Lumignano, we used QR codes which were linked to the website Sketchfab, where we published the models in order to make them visible to everyone. What the tourists found by opening one of those links on their smartphone was the 3D models of the outcrop they choose, which were freely rotatable through simple gesture, with also some interactive buttons which could show text, images, or links that better explain its geology or entire environment or history. In the end, we received very good feedback from visitors of the exhibition, from the local community and the administration, that liked this way to use the 3D models in the preservation and the emphasization of the geologic history of interesting location like Lumignano.
Filippo, did you finish your presentation?
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay, thank you very much. I didn't mention you told that you are done. Okay, once again, thank you very much for your presentation and given Flash Talk. We went through some technical issues, but we did it. Thank you very much. Feel free to ask if someone has any question to Filippo or to anyone else. We still miss our second presenter within this second half of sixth session. Liza, if you can hear us on the stream, please log into the system. And now, keeping the schedule, I would like to ask Balázs to present his presentation. So,
hello.
Hello, Balázs.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you clear. We can see you.
Nice.
So you can
Okay.
start your flash talk. Your
All
5
right.
minutes start now.
Thank you so much. So, hello everyone. My name is Balázs Megyeri, and I work at the Bükk National Park Directorate as the Geopark Manager of the aspiring Bükk Region Geopark. First of all, I'd like to say a big thank you to the organizers of the Oxford Geoheritage Virtual Conference for the opportunity to share and promote the beauty and heritage of the Bükk region. Today, I'd like to talk to you about the geoconservation efforts within our geopark's territory and the new opportunities and challenges the foundation of the geopark generated. The aspiring Bükk Region Geopark is the youngest of the 3 geoparks located in Hungary. It's located in the northeastern part of the country within the Northern Mountains. Its central zone consists of the Bükk Mountains and its northern neighbor, the Uponyi Mountains, both of which are characterized by fold and thrust structures, mainly formed during the Cretaceous tectogenesis. The aspiring geopark covers one of the most complex geological environments in the Carpathian Basin. This high geodiversity is well characterized by the 365 geosites identified so far within its territory, 40 of which have either regional or international significance of some sort. Let's talk about these geosites a little bit. They can be sorted into different categories. So first of all, we have numerous key sections that reveal an almost continuous sediment sequence spanning around 300 million years. Then there is, in the Bükk Mountains, there are numerous crystal caves and one travertine cave, the latter of which has an international significance due to the number and size of its formations. Then we have the beehive stones. They can be found on the southern parts of the geopark within the Bükk region. These stones are more than just remarkable natural values. They also form the earliest examples of the stone carving in the Carpathian Basin. Then there are hill forts dispersed around the region. They provide valuable information about the local land use from the early Bronze Age to the early Middle Ages. The working organization of the geopark, the Bükk National Park Directorate, carried out extensive geoconservation efforts in the past decades and also will continue to do so in the future. Now let's look at some recent examples of these efforts. We carried out rehabilitation-related tasks and placed interpretational boards, stairs and railings at a significant proportion of these key sections, hill forts and beehive stones. Notable among these is the beehive stone educational trail in Somoya. You can see a picture of this on the bottom right. Here we built walkways for easy access and for visitor flow control. And now we can also monitor the visitor flow with infrared counting systems. In the case of these beehive stones and also the hill forts, LiDAR surveys were also performed. You can see an example of the digital models created in the top right picture of the same stone. At local caves, we carried out debris removal and the closure of dangerous chimneys and the modernization of lighting systems as well. Now, geoheritage protection in the region expanded with new opportunities and new challenges with the establishment of our geopark. The conservation of the geological heritage and geosites is still of utmost importance. However, we would like to share and promote the importance of these natural values with local communities, the next generation, and the visitors to our geopark. Therefore, we started doing new educational and touristic endeavors. Last year, we held our first pilot training for georangers with really promising results. And also there is a guidebook for georangers that is nearly finished. A traveling exhibition travels the geopark settlements from last autumn. They promote the geopark to local communities. Two of the informational boards within this exhibition can be found behind me currently. Then We are currently developing different thematic routes which connect different geosites. So, for example, tourists on the weekend can explore a slice of the Bükk region. Amongst our long-term goals are the development of a geopark palette, to which local businesses with local products will be able to join, and also a dedicated geopark visitor center where arriving geotourists can get all the information they need. Along with these developments, the predicted increased visibility and increased number of visitors to the geosites pose new challenges. We will have to carefully plan out adequate visitor monitoring and visitor flow management infrastructure to have the necessary tools to minimize negative impacts to the region's geoheritage. Yeah. So thank you very much for your attention.
Balázs, thank you very much. Köszönöm for your presentation.
Nagyon szívesen.
Now, as we have no signs of Liza, sadly, so I'm afraid I have to tell you that we have finished our second half of the sixth session, and now it's time to move to the discussion panel. So I will bring back to the screen all the presenters from the second half, and we have some questions. So there is a question to Marianella from Elizabeth Doem. What is included in the cultural value assessment of the sites?
Yeah, thank you, Elizabeth, for your question. Well, the first thing I would like to say is that it has really been a challenge and an interesting work to be part of a multidisciplinary group to integrate evaluation criteria to assess the cultural value of the sites, since it is not a value that is commonly evaluated in geological heritage, and therefore there are not many references in this regard. So we basically developed 4 criteria. We'll summarize these criteria to you, which are the association with historical processes. These criteria indicates whether the site has been part of the construction of the historical narrative of a territory. This criteria covers history in a broad sense, including archaeology, prehistory, and history. Second, we have artistic references that indicate the existence of artistic works directly linked to the site. For example, paintings, sculptures, books, photographies, poems, and others. Third, we have criteria related to the landscape, and it refers to the relationship of the site to the perception of the surroundings and the spatial environment, whether natural or built. And finally, the symbolic aspects, which deal about the relation to the manifestations of seeing and feeling the work associated with the significance given by a community to the site, in such a way as to generate bonds of identification, appropriation, and social cohesion based on the sites.
Thank you very much for your answer. We have another question given by Paul Marton to Martin. You mentioned more than 300 assessed geosites, but how much less were represented on the map? How did you select or cluster those?
Thank you, Martin. Thank you for your question. We choose the sites based on the locations on the map where you find on the geosites, and with help of the Geopark leadership members, and these 40 sites contains the highest variety of the geological members of the sites, and the geotourism is concentrated in these areas, in these core areas of our previous research, and we made these core areas and choose these 40 geosites.
Thank you very much for your answer. We have another question from Martin to Balázs. What do you use for the 3D LiDAR models?
Thank you so much for the question, Martin. Right now, they are mainly used for the virtual tourism purposes that you mentioned. So you can find almost every single one of them on our website, bükk-geopark.hu. And you can view them basically from anywhere the world with internet connection. Yeah.
Yeah, there are also second and third part of the question, like morphometric analysis or virtual tourism purposes. But I think you, at least this last part of the question, answered, because you told us that it can be found on your Geopark webpage.
Yeah, we also used it for morphometric analysis, I believe. But basically, these scannings were done before I arrived at the Geopark. So these models were already done, and the educational books and these sorts of things that included data found from here were already done. So I haven't participated in that part of the research.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we have no more questions, but we still have some minutes to go to use all the time we have scheduled for the sixth session. One thing I want to tell to Balázs is that my students were in your Geopark last year, I think so, and they really enjoyed it. So I have to confirm that if you have any possibility to visit that part of Europe, it is really worth of it. It is not like making some commercial advertisement, but I have really good feedback from my students.
Oh, great. That's lovely to hear.
Yeah, okay. Maybe one question to you for your future Geopark plans is, how do you plan to manage higher visit flows?
So this part is very much under development as of yet, but definitely we want to make sure that if we have a geosite, that there is a proper management of the visitor flow. So, for example, we have these beehive rocks. Previously, people could only visit them basically if you stepped over it or stepped onto these stones. And since they are rhyolite tough, they are very malleable. So they can be damaged by, quite easily damaged by stepping on those. So proper trails, and also if we have more of these infrared visitor counting systems, so we can see if this area has too much or has too many visitors, then we plan to start promoting maybe another site, or a plan to somehow maximize the number of visitors to that geosites at any given time. But the specifics are not developed yet. So,
okay, thank you very much. So, thank you for presenting within the sixth session of the Oxford Virtual Geoheritage Conference. Our time is up. So once again, thank you all for watching the presentations, flash talks. Dear presenters, thank you for presenting your talks. Now we will have 15 minutes break, and then we will be really happy to see you on the poster session. So please, if you have time. In 15 minutes, see you back on the poster session according to the program of our conference. And for now, this is the end of the 6th session. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.